is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is brand new stuff from King's X's own Ty Tabor. The name of the album is Alien Beings. The name of that tune was Johnny Guitar. And on the line right now is the Johnny Guitar himself, Mr. Ty Tabor. Ty, how are you, man?
Great, man. How you doing?
Excellent. Well, Ty, got to tell you, man, this is a very cool, somewhat unexpectedly heavy record from you, man. Very good stuff.
Cool. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Sure.
That was kind of the idea was to do some kind of classic rock, really. Do some good old 70s rock and roll in your face.
No doubt. Well, and what's cool about it is, while it definitely has a heavier vibe, it's still very clearly what you've done in the past, which obviously the second disc is some reworkings of your past material. So why don't we start with the material that you reworked, and talk a little bit about why you felt the need to rework it. Did you feel that it just hadn't gotten out enough before, or were you not comfortable with the way it sounded, or what?
Well, it all sort of morphed into where it ended up. It wasn't the original intention. The original intention was, I was talking with my manager one day, and he mentioned that I should probably think about releasing all the stuff that I do on the side for fans online, that I should re-release that stuff on a label so that more people could be aware of it and hear of it. So that's where the original idea started. So I was talking to Joe at Rat Pack about it, and we started thinking, well, why don't we put a couple of new songs out with it also, so that it's not just the old stuff. But we loved the idea of getting the old stuff out because he knew nobody really knew about it, and he liked a lot of the old stuff. So
okay,
we decided at first to do that with just 2 or 3 new songs, and then I'd go back to Joe every couple of weeks. Hey man, I've got more music coming. Why don't we just hang on a bit? Maybe I can add another song or two. And that turned into a month and another month and another month, and so it was finally a thing where, hey man, I'm just going to go ahead and finish out a whole album, and we'll release 2.
Okay.
And so once I had this second album of new music, then the old music, there was a problem in that it, because it's a lot of it was years old, mixed a long time ago, and with old samples and things. And then I realized I really need to go back and do something to the old stuff so it won't sound so terrible up against the new stuff. So that was the reasoning behind, or the, what caused us to feel the need to go back and do some things to the old stuff. So I ended up remixing, putting in different samples and drums on some songs, make it sound a little more like today. Remixed a good bit of, remastered all of it.
Right.
And that was pretty much it. That was the reason for it.
Okay. Now, and what's cool about it is that for a lot of people, myself included, I didn't know. I knew some of the old stuff, but I didn't know all of the stuff on the record. And it really does kind of paint a more complete picture of your music outside of King's X, because I mean, obviously people are aware of King's X and know that catalog, but I don't think a lot of people realize just how diverse of a musician you actually are. Especially when you listen to this stuff, or even if you just look up the 940 things that you've appeared on. I mean, you've been on so many different projects of so many different styles. It seems like you're one of those creative guys that never stops creating and certainly doesn't limit himself to a certain style.
That would be true. I on both counts. I'm always needing to be creative in one way or another, whether it be painting or writing music or building something even. It's something I do on the side nobody knows is I build things.
Okay.
Out of usually reclaimed wood and pallet wood and stuff like that. I build furniture. And it's a creative outlet for me. It's just like writing a song. Because when I start building, I don't have a plan usually. And I just wing it and create things. And it's the same way I write music. So yeah, being creative all the time it's just a part of my life. if I find myself being stuck for several days, unable to do something creative, that's the one thing that really makes me start losing my mind. I mean, I
Right.
literally start going crazy if I don't do something creative. So that's an outlet that's always nonstop, and playing music and writing is always nonstop. So yeah, I'm luckily I'm in a situation where I'm allowed to be able to do that and just create all the time.
Sure. Now, how do you go about differentiating material that you're going to keep for yourself versus give to King's X versus maybe take to a third party project, or you know that you might be into? Because one of the things I did notice listening to some of the new material on Alien Beings is that some of it really does. Some of it sounds like you could swap You Out and Dug In, and it's a King's X song. But then there's other stuff that's very, very different. So how do you go about, deciding what you're going to bring to this project or that project?
I don't really have a formula, really. It's more a matter of what feels right, what seems to be fitting right, and what seems to be coming in a natural way that isn't having to be forced. And those things kind of dictate it, and that kind of lets me know what should go on an album and what should be used in what circumstance. Because I don't really think about it. I don't write something. Usually, I don't write something with the idea that this is for me or Jelly Jam or King's X. I just write.
Okay.
And then if I'm getting ready to go in to do a Jelly Jam album or a King's X or whatever, I just bring songs that I've been writing in and find whichever ones seem to fit the vibe of the situation, the band I'm in. So I really don't think I have any certain way of doing it. I just always write, and whatever project I happen to be doing gets the focus of whatever songs are there at the time and whatever ones fit the best.
Okay, very cool. Now let's talk a little bit about the new material and the release overall. The one thing that I think I'm correct on, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you have a direct connection to the title Alien Beings. It's not only the name of the record, but I believe it's also the name of your studio. What is the connection to that title?
Well, yeah, basically, in the early days when I first started demoing and buying some digital gear, I just as a joke, because I had just basically a little home studio, I decided to name it something, and just like Gretchen Goes to Nebraska or Please Come Home, Mr. Bulbous, or whatever phrase that King's X used, I'm always one that's pushing those kind of stupid names or things that are a bit just off or
right.
Nonsense. And so I just decided to call my studio Alien Beings back then, just as a joke, and it kind of stuck.
Okay.
And seeing it, and basically how it ties into the record is that everything on the record is recorded with Alien Beings. So it basically is a time capsule of the studio Alien Beings over the years.
No doubt. Now, listening to it, like we said earlier, there's a lot of diversity in the songs. And one of the things that for me stands out, and it's not new that you sing, but you really are an unheralded vocalist. I mean, everybody talks about your guitar playing, but you can listen to a song like Back It Down as an example, and that sounds really fresh and like everything else that you would hear on maybe modern active rock radio, which is is a strong tribute to you as a vocalist. Do you see yourself as a vocalist that also plays guitar, or do you just do it out of necessity, or what?
I do it out of necessity. I do not consider myself a vocalist at all.
Okay.
I'm not a real vocalist. Doug's a real vocalist. I do it out of necessity. I do it because I want it. I want the melody to be a certain way and feel a certain way. I do it, but I don't enjoy singing at all. It's the one thing in the studio I always dread. and don't look forward to and can't wait to just get it over with. It's the last thing I do on each song, and it's like pulling teeth for me. I enjoy everything else about it, about recording. I do not enjoy doing vocals at all. Really don't.
Is that why you also, for the very most part, don't take the vocals to the live setting with King's X either, and do any of that material?
Oh yeah, but well, Doug is our lead singer.
Sure.
I mean, the only way I end up singing things with King's X is if he just isn't getting the vibe of what I wrote.
Okay.
And then I'll sing my song. But I always, for the last many years, if I write something, it's usually with the intention that Doug's going to sing it.
Sure.
I guess on the last album, I wrote a couple of things where we just immediately said it would be best for me to sing it. But in general, yeah, it's like Dogman.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I wrote on that album, Doug sings. And,
right. And
just, I've always considered him the lead singer. Yes.
Fair enough. Now, for Alien Beans, do you foresee yourself putting together a band and maybe playing some shows with it, or is it just a recording project?
Actually, I've been talking to some guys in Texas that we did a show together. The only live show of my rock stuff I've ever done in my life. I did one show down in Houston a few years ago. And I had Bill Walter on bass, Darlin Keys on drums, and Wally Farkas on guitar.
Okay.
So it was three guys that I love to play music with also. And we're talking about hopefully potentially doing some songs for this album, doing at least a small Texas run.
Okay, excellent. Now, Ty, one of the things that is that fans are talking about anyway is that you guys are the three guys from King's X are kind of doing independent things right now instead of at least in public working on King's X material. You guys are all doing outside projects. Is that just a situation of you guys needing to step away from each other for a little bit to regroup, or is King's X over, or where does that all stand?
Well, actually, King's X has been touring quite a bit the last few years, and for some very strange reason, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We just did one of our biggest European tours we've ever done.
Okay.
And we have been selling out a huge chunk of our shows in America, and we've been moving up to showcase places and theaters. So as far as how it's going for the band at the moment, we've been on an upswing for several years now, and it's going absolutely fantastic.
Excellent.
And because of that, we decided to, during this next year, get serious about potentially doing another album finally. So that's what the plans are for King's X at the moment. We're going back out on the road in January.
Okay.
And we're just doing. It's just been an absolute sleigh fest live for about 3 years now. Nothing but really great shows.
Excellent.
It's been a big surprise for all of us.
No doubt. Now, one more quick one. Just a project that you worked on that I have to know about. Of the various projects that you've worked on, the one that stuck out to me just because it was such a controversial release was working on the Queensryche release, Frequency Unknown. That album clearly was met with a lot of scrutiny, with everything from what was going on with the two Queensryches to the production and the reissue of it and everything. What was that experience like for you working on that?
Uncomfortable. Because when I agreed to do it, I thought that I was agreeing to play a solo on one of Geoff's solo albums.
Okay.
I didn't realize it was that when I agreed to it. So I sort of stepped into the controversy accidentally.
Okay.
And I don't know if you noticed, I didn't say a word about it on any of my social networks. I didn't promote it or anything because I felt bad about it. I went ahead and did it because I gave my word, but I didn't realize that was what it was when I said yes. I misunderstood.
Sure. Well, and I don't think you were alone in that one, Ty. I think a lot of people thought that too. Anyway, well, Ty, the new record is called Alien Beans. It is Ty Tabor, of course, from King's X. And Ty, as a tradition on the show, we always let the artist pick a closing track from the new record and maybe tell us a quick story about it. So what'd you like us to wrap this up with?
Well, so you played Johnny Guitar, I heard you say.
Yep.
Earlier.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, well, if you hadn't played Freight Train, that's the first single. Might as well hit them hard with that.
All right. Well, let's do it right now. This is Freight Train. It's Ty Tabor right here on your Classic Metal Show.